Hi everyone, Chris Aversano here, host of the Last Dinosaur podcast. In this week's installment of Tell Me More Tuesday, we're going to explore two pretty timely topics. The first one we're going to talk in the maritime topic is we're going to chat about the difference between liner trade and tramp trades. So this is talking about the two styles of trade that ships generally engage in. And my digital topic is going to be what are APIs and how are they used, and how are they used not only at home but at the workplace. So when you talk about trading styles of ships, I'm going very, very general here. So for all the maritime folks here, there's lots of different ways. But when you hear this term, you hear generally two styles, liner and tramp. So liner services, I want you to think about buses. They have a schedule. You know when it's going to be there. You know, if you go stand outside, of your office building, if you're in a city area, a certain bus will come pick you up at a certain time, and that'll work on a schedule. And that's what liner services are. Think about ships like container ships, ro-ros, passenger ships. They all work in that liner type service. You know exactly when a certain ship's going to be in a certain port, and you can plan for it. And that's why that's important, because obviously with the delays that we've had with COVID and with other interruptions, striking going on in certain places, those schedules become interrupted, making the supply chain a little bit harder to let's say execute. And of course, those ships generally carry products that are consumer goods, right? Think of housewares, think of your automobiles. These are going right to your consumers. So that's a summary of what the liner services are. Tramp trading is a little different. They don't have a schedule. So let's think of Uber. I'm not saying that shipping should be placed by Uber, but an Uber driver, from his or her perspective, doesn't know where they're going to go next. They get a particular, a potential customer, and they go, yep, that one's going to make me more money than doing something else. And that's pretty much what a ship owner does. I'm boiling it down to some very, very simple terminology and some simple ideas, but that's what we're going to be looking at. Think about ships that carry grain, that carry bulk commodities, oil in bulk, things like that. Typically a little bit further away from the consumer. There has to be some processes, although not all the time, but a lot of time it is further away from the consumer. And ships, you don't know their schedule, making it harder to schedule things like fueling, crew changes, repairs. Tramp traders and their ownership and operators have a little bit more difficult time, and there's a little bit close in planning, whereas the liner service folks, you can plan months and months in advance. Generally, that's what happens. So that's that's the two general terminology differences between the types of trade that ships are engaged in. Looking at today's digital topic, we're going to talk about APIs. API is an acronym for Application Programming Interface. And think of it as how one platform can connect with another to give a very specific type of information. Right now, you're actually using it. If you're using Facebook, if you're using an instant message service, or even checking your weather on the phone, you're using an API. In short, this is a way to get information onto a platform you're already using. Let's talk about weather, right? If you have a weather feed that you like to use in the office and you're getting routing and other information, rather than having a separate screen set up, if you have a platform that you do performance analysis with or you do voyage management with, you can get an API that delivers that information right into your platform. And what this allows you to have everything on one screen. And you, the user, will work usually with the computer company, with the let's say in this case the weather company, to actually define what you want to see. Generally, you put those into something called endpoints. Won't get too deep there. There's plenty of resources to look at that, but generally that's what happens. Even stalwarts like the Baltic, and this is no endorsement of the Baltic, but even companies that have been around for hundreds of years are now implementing APIs. And how would that work? Well, Baltic, if you have a trading platform and you want to see the latest Baltic numbers, those can be put right into your platform rather than having to look on their website or rely on other sources to get it. You get it right into whatever, let's say, trading platform that you're on. Pretty interesting stuff. And we're seeing more and more companies embrace APIs. Obviously, with the rules around CII and EEXI next year, we're going to see this type of information being put in, whether it's from performance monitoring software on your ships or other places. There's going to be the option to get that information on an API rather than having a separate screen. Again, making it more seamless for the end user. Of course, these come with a cost, and there is occasionally some development that needs to be done. The overall idea is that you can get information into your platform without really changing your workflow. It's a really interesting way of doing things, and something that's really not going to go away. I hope you enjoyed this installment of Tell Me More Tuesdays. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to the podcast. And don't forget, we have some fantastic guests coming up that will actually talk about APIs and talk about all the things that we've discussed today. Have a question or maybe a topic suggestion? Drop me an email at thelastdinosaurpod@gmail.com. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Aversano, wishing you fair winds and following seas.